Hey everybody, it's Dayna with the Rockin Chicken Extension Office, and I am back at work, back in the office, and ready to get started doing these videos again. Hopefully, even doing in person sometime soon. Now that things have kind of started to open back up and feel a little bit more normal. But for this month, I've got a recipe that I really do wish we were trying in person because I think it's going to be delicious. I can't wait to eat it after this is done. But it's such a simple recipe. So if you're new, we each month cook through the 2021 food and nutrition calendar. The University of Kentucky Cooperative Extension Service Nutrition Education Program puts this calendar out each year, and we have for several years now cooked through it, typically in person, but of course this year virtually. So what I'm going to do is tell you two different ways that you can make this dish, depending on your lifestyle and how it works best for you. And then we'll talk a little bit about some things that you can add in or whatnot. And then we're gonna see how it goes. So it is the Rockin Chicken Tacos recipe, and I'll kind of hold it up. We post it in the comments each month, so you'll have it there. But I wanted to show you a picture of it. So these look delicious. They are extremely easy. If you are somebody who likes to dump cans and run, this is for you. If you are somebody who likes the slow cooker, this is for you. If you're somebody who slow cooker's not for you, this is still for you. And so one thing that they did do, which I appreciate, is tacos are a great dish. They're a great quick dish. They're usually a crowd pleaser, but taco seasoning can have quite a bit of salt in it. And so we do have a recipe that we're going to use for a low sodium taco blend. And the thing that I like about it is it's all of these spices that you probably have in your pantry anyway. And so it's not having you run out and buy anything outrageous. The other advantage is it's going to be quite a bit cheaper this way because you can use these individual spices in so many other dishes instead of using one packet of taco seasoning in that one dish and you're done. So we're going to make this low sodium taco blend first, and then I'm going to show you truly how quick and easy this recipe is going to be. So I'm going to move a little bit just because I am kind of on the end of our counter here. We will end up using, that's the oven, as I was going to say, we'll end up using the oven for this dish. We have it preheat to 350 degrees, so I preheated that as I was kind of setting everything up. You could preheat as you were getting all your ingredients out because there's really not a lot of prep work to this dish at all, which makes it one of my favorites. So the first thing that we're going to do is make our low sodium taco blend. So we're going to end up using a tablespoon of chili powder, a teaspoon of garlic powder, a teaspoon of dried oregano, a teaspoon of onion powder, half a teaspoon of red pepper flakes, half a teaspoon of black pepper, and a quarter teaspoon of paprika. And so we're just going to mix all those together, and then we have our taco blend. Again, lower sodium, and something that you can use all of these other ingredients in something different. So you're spending your money a little bit more wisely than just going out and buying single serve taco seasoning. So this one was not even opened yet. I will say one thing, this calls for onion powder, and I did not have onion powder. I only had minced onion, and that's fine. I could have gone to the store and purchased onion powder if I wanted, but in this instance, it didn't really seem worth the money to me when I had the minced onion, and so that's okay to do. If you've got flakes versus ground or whatever it is, a different version of the spice, that's okay. If you want to use fresh on some of this, that's okay. Know that you need 3 times more fresh than you do dried because the dried spices, the flavors are so much more powerful. And so if you wanted to do fresh, that's fine because the intent here is just to get those flavors mixed in with, for us, what will be chicken and our veggies over here. So this is our garlic powder, and again, we need a teaspoon. And I'm just going to do this all in this one little bowl here. But then the other good thing about this is you can make this and then you can store it in a jar, maybe one of those small mason jars or a leftover empty jar that you have, and then you can make a bunch at a time, so you're not having to remake this every time you're making tacos. And if you like it, there you go, keep it and continue to reuse. But the other fun thing about this is you can play around with it a little bit. So again, we're going to do half a teaspoon of the red pepper flakes, which is this side here. So maybe you find that you like red pepper flakes, so you add in more of those. Or maybe the onion part isn't for you, and so you take that out. Or garlic. A lot of people, garlic seems to be one of those things, you either love it or you hate it, and so you can play around with that a little bit. So we've got our onion powder, a teaspoon. Again, I've got minced onion. I'm just going to go with the amount that it called for. And normally I would clean this off a little bit and just scoop into my spices, but this is a loose enough seasoning that I can kind of play around a little bit. So I've done those three. I've got black pepper, which is a half a teaspoon of that. So again, I do have my handy little teaspoon here that has all four kind of in one, or hand measuring spoon, I shouldn't say teaspoon, because it's the tablespoon, the half a teaspoon, quarter teaspoon, all of that in one. And so that is a nice thing. Then we've got our chili powder, which is a tablespoon. So again, if you like spice, add more. If you don't want the spice, add less, whatever works for you. So we're gonna do a tablespoon of our chili powder. And I very easily could have had this blended before I did this video, but this is honestly the only mixing you really do in this dish, the only prep work that you have to do. So there's our paprika, a quarter teaspoon of that. I'll put all those lids back on later. And then we have our dried oregano, and we need a teaspoon. So I typically think of oregano as an Italian spice because I use it in my homemade lasagna and things like that. And I can probably bet pretty good money that I would have not guessed that oregano would be in our taco blend. So I am really excited to try this. So what we're going to do is just mix this up, and I'm going to use the same spoon I've been using here. This is a much prettier taco blend than what you find in the packages. It smells delicious. That is one thing that I hate about the videos that we're having to do, that you guys have no idea what any of this smells like or anything like that. So we've got our taco blend. I'm going to set this aside just for a second while I open up our chicken. And I know you can't see me anymore, and I'm okay with that. It'll look like I'm struggling with the knife just a little bit, and I'm not. I am using one of our kid-safe knives. So this knife is one that you can let your kids help in the kitchen, and they can't cut their skin. And don't worry, I'm not going to use this on any of the food. I'm just opening a package with it. But I wanted to show you that there are knives out there that are available that they can cut, they can accidentally cut themselves, and it's not going to cut their skin at all. And so a great incentive to get the kids in the kitchen and lose some of that fear of some major injuries or anything like that. So those are available for you to find. Lots of different brands make them. I have used several different ones, and I've been happy with many of them. So it's definitely something worth looking into if you have kids that you want to help you in the kitchen. So we have got 1 pound of our boneless, skinless chicken. And we're just going to lay it in, for us, this 9x13 dish. And I mentioned earlier that this dish, if you like the slow cooker, it's for you. If you don't, it's for you, and that's because you can do either one. So you may be saying, I'm a busy mom, of course I'm going to use the slow cooker. And so if you want to do that, toss your chicken into the slow cooker with the taco blend, and then the cans that we're going to use here in a minute, toss it all in there. You're going to put it on high for 4 hours or low for 8, whatever works best for your schedule. Or you may be saying, I'm a busy mom, I didn't have time to set stuff out into the slow cooker this morning, which I get. So if you're that side, you're going to use a 9x13 dish, put your chicken in it. We're going to cover it with our taco blend here in just a second, and then with our 3 cans. And so really it can be done either way, however works best for you. And then we are going to cover this and stick it in the oven, again at 350 degrees for 45 minutes. So either one, whichever works for you. And then once we get it done, and I'll show you what it looks like, we're going to take the chicken out and shred it, and then put it back in with all the vegetables, mix it all up, and then we're ready to serve it in our tacos. So I'm going to go wash my hands for a second, and then we'll come back, we'll add all of our stuff, and we'll go from there. Okay, so hands are clean, and I went ahead and opened up our cans for the three things that we're literally just going to dump in here. We've got a can of black beans. I did drain and then rinse these, so we're just going to top our chicken with this. I didn't even dirty up a dish. I just drained and rinsed right within my can. So we've got that. We have got a can of corn that we did drain. And I'll mix all this up here in just a second. And then we've got a can of diced tomatoes. It does not say to drain the diced tomatoes. And I read that a couple of times to make sure. But they don't have a ton of juice in them anyway. So we're just going to kind of spread that liquid that's there on top out. And then we're going to dump those in. So you can tell already this is a really colorful dish, which I like about it. So we've got our tomatoes. We did go with the no salt added tomatoes because, again, we're trying to make this dish with a lower sodium thought in mind. So I'm just going to mix this around just a little bit on top of our chicken here. So at the end of this, when these are our tacos, you can top with lettuce or avocado or sour cream, cheese, things like that. But the lettuce or the avocado would add some green in this that would really make it even prettier than it is. So then we've got our low sodium taco blend, and I'm just going to shake it across here. And so, again, to make sure that we're going to use this whole thing, we are. All right, so we have got our chicken with our diced tomatoes with no salt added, our corn, which we did the no salt added with the corn as well, and our black beans that we drained and rinsed, and then we sprinkled that low sodium taco blend right over the top of all of it. So all we're going to do now is cover this. I'm going to move it so I make sure I get the right amount. And we're going to stick this in the oven that's preheated on 350 degrees for 45 minutes. And then once it's done, I'm going to show you what it looks like. And we'll talk about how we're going to dress it up and some different options you got there. So we'll stick this in the oven. All right, so I just got this out of the oven. Scoot it over where you all can hopefully see, and then we'll move back. We'll move the camera back here in a minute whenever I do the rest of this. But I wanted you to see as we kind of lifted this off. It smells amazing. But our chicken is underneath here. And you can see that it kind of got some of that sauce from the tomatoes and everything. So we're going to pull this chicken out and we are going to shred it. If you wanted, you could just slice it because these are your tacos and you can do it that way if you want. You could also just serve it just like this if you didn't want to do the taco way, I guess you could say. It would be really good just served just like this with all of those veggies on top. So we are going to shred this chicken. I've seen lots of different techniques for ways to shred chicken quickly, but I'm going to do the old-fashioned method. So I've just got a pie plate here and 2 forks, and I'm just going to rip that apart here in just a second. So I'll move screens. All right, so I'm just going to shred our chicken. Again, like I said, I've seen lots of fun ways that you can shred chicken with hand mixers and blenders and things like that, but I'm just going to kind of loosely do this with our forks here so that I'm not dirtying up even more equipment because, again, I'm a busy mom and I don't have time to do that all the time. So I'm just going to pull these into my pie plate. You don't have to do it in a pie plate. I just like that it kind of gives me sides and it gives me a little bit of a barrier there because sometimes things do go flying. So I'm just going to quickly shred this. The other advantage to the pie plate is I could just serve out of this if I was wanting it to be, maybe I'm serving picky eaters who maybe want just the chicken and they don't want corn or one of the things that we've got in there, they could just add the chicken to their tacos quite a bit easier. But actually what it calls for you to do is to actually shred all of this chicken and then toss it back in our main dish there that has the cooked corn, beans, and tomatoes. So that's an option as well. So I'm just going to, I know this is what you wanted to watch me do, is shred this chicken up. So I just kind of have to find the way the chicken breaks apart easiest and then turn my breast to that way. And then you just kind of hold with one fork and pull apart with the other. Now, one thing I did do that you didn't get to see was I checked the temperature of our chicken. I used my meat thermometer to make sure that our chicken was at 165 degrees because we want to make sure, even when we cook things in the oven, we want to make sure that our food reached that safe internal temperature so that we are safely feeding our family, friends, whatever it is, whoever it is that we're feeding. Which makes me think, I have not looked yet at how many people this recipe serves. So it says it makes 6 servings, but like every food label, it's important that you look at the serving size because 6 servings doesn't mean always only 6 tacos. And so a serving size is actually 2 tacos. So you should be able to get 12 tacos out of our 1 pound here that we've done. You can do soft tortillas, flour tortillas, corn tortillas. You could do hard shell tortillas if you wanted as well, if that's your family's preference. I grabbed soft tortillas, and I grabbed 2 different kinds just to play around with flavors. So one of them is just a traditional flour tortilla. I did grab the low sodium because, again, that's something we kind of carried through this whole dish with our low sodium canned options and our low sodium taco blend. And then the other one that I grabbed is a spinach and herb tortilla, just because I thought they sounded good, and so I wanted to see what that would be like. Plus, again, that brings in some green to our pretty dish anyway. You can get tortillas that are high in fiber or low in carbs or whatever. Like I said, this is low sodium. So again, just get what works for you. If you don't want to do tortillas, you could always use lettuce as your tortilla as well as your wrap. This would be really good as a lettuce wrap. You could do this over a salad. You could serve this by itself. There's tons of different ways that you can do this. You can put this, the leftovers for this I think would be really good as a soup. And so you don't have to have it as tacos every night, which is, again, one of the advantages of kind of building it as you go. So we are going to, I'm going to remember to use my pot holder here, bring our vegetables back over, and I'm just going to dump our shredded chicken back in so I can mix it with our tomatoes and corn and black beans. And then we're just going to add this onto our taco shell. And so you can, again, pick which one you want. Toppings: cheese, avocado, sour cream, lettuce, cilantro, whatever you really wanted, salsa, whatever you preferred. And that's, again, one of the things that I like about cooking is you can make it what works for you, what works for your family, however you need it. So I'm actually going to serve these to myself because I haven't had lunch. And then I know there's several people in the office today that want to try it. So as much as I wish that we were in person with you all, and I'm just going to mix these, I'm going to kind of mix all these around so they all get kind of coated with the juices of this. But anyways, I know that I wish we were all in person together and you all were getting to try this, but I think sometimes maybe my coworkers are okay with the fact that we're still having to do this virtually, and now I have this meal that somebody needs to eat. So hopefully next month, if not, maybe the month or two after that, we will be back in person. But if not, we will still be here doing the July recipe on video. And the July recipe is a garden patch salad. And so this one is a really easy one. You're really just more assembly. So I'm gonna do some fun things in July to try to spice this one up and make it a little bit different. But again, this one was the Rockin Chicken Tacos. It would be really good with like sliced mango and some milk as a really simple dish. And again, there's lots of things that you can do with the leftovers here. Cook the chicken in the oven like we did, 350 degrees for 45 minutes, or put it in the slow cooker if you want, on low for 8 hours or half or 4 hours, whatever works best for you and your family. And after that, I hope you try this recipe, hope you like it, and we'll see you next month.